All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the weekly holiday show. I'm your host, Mr. James, and it says winter edition, but guess what? It is currently the spring right now, but it just began the spring. So let's pretend we're in one more day of winter, anyways. So here are your selected holidays for the week of March 20th through March 26th. That's Monday through Sunday. Hope everyone's doing okay. I believe warmer weather is coming to at least Maine. So, yeah, get rid of that snow and maybe find your sneakers that you might have worn inside if you go to school or not. Anyways, Monday is Flower Day, and not the flowers you go outside to smell, the pretty flowers that we can pick and just enjoy and the bees love. This is the flower that we take of grains and seeds and we grind them up and we make things like bread or later in the week, crepes. So, you must like bread, do you? Or you must like something that has to do with flour. Do you eat cereal? Do you have cookies? All those things that require some sort of powdered version of a grain or a seed, or even nuts like almond flour and such. They make flours out of everything, coconut flour. So it helps to make something that you can bake and cook, and it's delicious. It's kind of an easier way for us to digest things. You know, I've used oatmeal every single day for many years, and the second I started blending it up and making it into a flour and cooking with it, it just became easier to make into certain recipes. I've been able to make things with oatmeal that I didn't think I could make before. So flour's been around for a very long time. People said that the ancient pyramids in Egypt were built based upon the fact that they made bread so that people could eat during the day. So bread making must have been quite an industry back then, and it still is. Bread is amazing, and if you go into baking bread, it's a great art form, and people will be happy, especially if you have some butter with it, or could be almond butter too. I like that too. Anyways, Tuesday is Memory Day. As we get older, we want to make sure we have a good memory. We want to help our brain to remember things. And there are several games you can play, but there's a lot of different things that can help with memory. First of all is exercise. Get exercise every single day. That could mean a 11-minute walk. I know 11 seems like a random number, but any bit of exercise that you can do is going to help circulate things in your body. And, you might look at something outside if you're outside taking a walk, which is a good idea. And it just kind of spurs your brain to use more of its abilities. Think of it that way. Memory is one of these things we want to keep because we want to remember everything that was important to in our lives. But we also want to remember things that we do. And learning is a great way to increase our memory because we want to learn about how things work and just keep learning all the time. It's one of these things that the older you get, when you say, I can't remember that. And you might have some things that can help you out. Computers, like phones you might have on you, or tablets, laptops, or just a pencil and paper. A little bit of a tiny booklet you keep with you, and you write things down that you want to remember. And that doesn't mean you're losing your memory. That means you have a way to help jog your memory, they say. So you can remember. But memory is very important. It shapes everything that we are. Wednesday, it's Bavarian Crepe Day. So Bavarian crepes. What are crepes? Or crepe? I'm used to the French, I believe it's a Canadian crepe. But also there is one called a ploy, which is kind of a smaller thing. We're talking about something that looks like a pancake, but a crepe is a very, very thin version of this. And you can put things inside of it and roll it up so it looks kind of like a cannoli or a pastry, and put whatever you want on top. I mean, these are delicious. You can even have it savory, which means you can put things in it that like vegetables and stuff like that, and spices to make it taste a little more savory and not sweet. But great. It's another way to use flour, which is amazing, right? That's why I have the same exact Bitmoji picture right up there. And it's great if you want to cook for a lot of people and you go, I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make. Crepes are perfect. There are even restaurants I see that only offer those now because they've just figured out this is the best way to put ingredients inside and roll it up and make it look fancy. So try it out. They're delicious. Thursday, it's chip and dip day. Hey, guess what? Some chips made with flour. So, yeah. The chips you see right here are made with some corn flour, possibly, or masa, ground corn, and being dipped into, it looks like guacamole, which is made with avocados. Chip and dip. I would say find a good chip and try several different dips with it. You might find one that you really, really like. But always be searching for different things. Hey, I love hummus. Hummus is made with beans. It's delicious. It's made with chickpeas, which are garbanzo beans. But it's good for you. It's got protein. It's got some vitamins and minerals. And yeah, you can find so many different flavors. They have a chocolate version as well. I know. So chip and dip. Have some fun. Friday, it seems like so much food this week. Chocolate covered raisin day. And the Bitmoji has me in a fruit basket, but in front are grapes. And we know what happens when we take grapes and we put them in the sun for a long time, right? Raisins. So it's really concentrated. So raisins have a lot of concentrated sugars in them. I wouldn't say be eating these all the time. And chocolate just kind of adds another layer to things. So the most popular brand I know are called Raisinets. And probably a very important food for people when they're watching movies, for those that like to have snacks when you watch a movie, aside from popcorn. But raisins are, it's the fact that you can take a fruit and dry it to make it last longer. It's called preserving, and then cover it in chocolate to make it maybe less sticky, because you can kind of make the chocolate a little harder on the outside, but also make it, have a little bit more calories and a little bit more fat and maybe taste better to you. And I think that's a pretty brilliant idea when people started doing that. I mean, yeah, it's great because it's a fruit inside of chocolate, right? Good way to get some fruit in there if you don't normally get fruit. I would suggest also getting the raw fruits like apples, pears, bananas, things like that too. So, and grapes. So Saturday. So this is probably the weirdest holiday. You might not have heard this person, a person named Tolkien, which is an author that wrote it's been a movie and for a while, but it's been a book for even longer because he wrote this, called The Lord of the Rings. That's why I'm there with a ring acting like I'm proposing to somebody. And it doesn't have anything to do with that. Lord of the Rings is basically like a fantasy, and it's kind of based on a lot of different things, but it's imagine like a medieval somewhat period, but there are different types of peoples and like orcs and elves, and there's different languages, and everyone's fighting, but there's a ring that one person made that basically had them control everybody, and then it was lost, and then they have to find a way to destroy it, the people that are good in the book. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you anymore. You can find out about that. But there's been a lot of movies about this, and it's been really popular for a while. And Tolkien had some good ideas about things, and probably some controversial things as well. But it's one of these things where people write stories, and it's good to explore people's stories. Even if you might not agree with some of the things they write, it's good to see other people's point of view, to see where they're coming from, because they have an opinion of something that was formed some way, and it's good to know how that was formed. I think everything like that is important. In order for us to be nice to each other and just to be friendly and caring about others, is to understand each other. It's really important. And it's really important for Sunday to recognize epilepsy. And that's sometimes this is called Purple Day, because it has these little purple ribbon that you might wear. Epilepsy is something that happens in your brain. It could happen from an immune response. It can happen from genetics. And it basically means your body, you might see somebody who might start shaking and they can't control themselves. And sometimes they can't control anything and they end up on the floor. and you have to hold them still, and in some cases, make sure they don't move around, parts of their body that might get hurt too much. And it's basically like a seizure. And a seizure is something where your muscles just start moving without you being in control of them, and you kind of have to wait it out before it stops. And I have a family member I just found out that is diagnosed as having this. And yeah, I'm going to hopefully meet them and see how they're doing. There's definitely medications for this, but it's one of these things where just imagine yourself if you couldn't control your body and it started shaking and you didn't know how to stop it. And it would be scary, but then you start to learn that I know when it's going to happen, and then you get to a comfortable position and you might lay down, or you might get yourself in a place where you can be safe and you won't move around too much and hurt yourself. And it's one of these things where until they can find something to make your brain stop sending those signals to your muscles to move, then you just have to learn to live with it for a while. But it is amazing how many things that our bodies can do, and how tiny little things can change how our body reacts. So just be aware. Everyone's going through their own sort of thing, and be caring, because you might not know what that is, and we want to treat everyone with respect. And definitely treat people with epilepsy if you find out that they have it with respect. And they're equal to all of us. They just have something they have to deal with, and kind of like all of us. So anyways, everybody celebrate something this week and take care of each other and try some bread. Thank you.